हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक एंड दिस इज संतोष सर। एंड आज के इस वीडियो में आई विल बी शेयरिंग द सॉल्व्ड असाइनमेंट ऑफ MCO 01 एंड IGNOU has already declared the date sheet for TE examination which will be starting in the month of June 2023. So this is the right time to do preparation because theory है एंड आप लोगों को बहुत अच्छे से प्रिपरेशन करना है। एंड वन थिंग मोर, ये जो असाइनमेंट में क्वेश्चंस हैं इट इज़ नॉट नेसेसरी कि आपके टी एग्जाम्स में आ नहीं सकते। यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट 1 or 2 क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम असाइनमेंट ऑल्सो। तो इट इज़ वेरी एसेंशियल दैट यू शुड learn, you should prepare these assignments properly and repeatedly I am telling you that these assignments are carrying 30% of the marks weightage. तो इसको अच्छे से बनाना, प्रिपेयर करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है टू गेट गुड स्कोर इन MCOM एग्जामिनेशन। एंड those students who are interested to purchase my study materials, 5 years solution of the question papers, they can message me on Telegram or through email, the link of which I will be providing in the description box. So friends, let's start the video and let's see and try to understand the solution of the first question. The first question is what do you know by bureaucracy? Discuss its characteristics and do you think that bureaucracy enhances the efficiency of an organization? तो give your arguments. तो आपको यहाँ पे लिखना है bureaucracy का definition. Now bureaucracy theory was originally proposed by Max Weber and this system of organization where the roles, this is the definition, the roles, task, relationship among the positions are clearly defined and controlled according to the strict rules and regulations of the organization. According to Max Weber, every organization can be defined as a structure of activities or means directed towards achievement of certain objectives or ends. Now this advocates that every organization develop a system of specialization through division of work, a set of rules, procedures to maximize its productivity. So like this, where the roles, the rules, the functions, the relationship between all the positions are clearly defined and there is strict discipline. Organization में अच्छा discipline होता है and all the workers are committed to achieving the goals of the organization. So this is bureaucracy. And these are the characteristics, main characteristics of bureaucracy. The first one is division of labor and specialization. Labor, there are different types of labor. ठीक है, कुछ लेबर होते हैं फैक्ट्री में काम करते हैं, कुछ लेबर होते हैं ऑफिस में काम करते हैं, सबके अलग अलग रोल्स हैं, फंक्शंस हैं, सो दैट लीड्स टू स्पेशलाइजेशन. तो लाइक दिस यू कैन एक्सपैंड दिस पॉइंट. देन हायरार्की, every organization follows a hierarchy. That means generally top to bottom. टॉप लेवल में टॉप मैनेजमेंट है, देन मिडिल मैनेजमेंट एंड देन लोअर मैनेजमेंट. तो लाइक दिस there is a hierarchy of the position, and each position is having a specific role. Then there are rules, there is rationality, impersonality and neutrality. So ये आपको ये सारे definitions, I mean characteristics आपको define करने हैं. Just now I told you about division of labor, hierarchy, then rules. There are a set of rules and regulations in bureaucracy and all the employees are abide by that. And if anyone violates these rules, strict actions are taken against him. And rationality, rationality and efficiency are closely related. It helps to achieve high degree of efficiency in the organization. So every employee should be rational so that he can work with 100% efficiency. Then comes impersonality. In bureaucracy, there is no place for personal or emotional sentiments. Employees should show professional attitudes and behavior in their work, and it should be observed by all the officials in decision making, and there should not be any type of partiality in the organization. Then comes neutrality. Bureaucracy is committed to work only. It believes in the performance and nothing else. तो आज के जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है मेरे ख्याल से दे बिलीव इन दिस प्रिंसिपल, दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रिंसिपल, न्यूट्रलिटी, बिकॉज परफॉर्मेंस, ऑल दीज मॉडर्न ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आर परफॉर्मेंस ओरिएंटेड, दे नीड परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयज. ओके, नाउ इसके कुछ क्रिटिसिज्म भी हैं, एंड देन यू कैन राइट योर व्यूज अबाउट ब्यूरोक्रेसी कि वेदर इट शुड बी अप्लाइड in the modern organization or not. Now first thing is rigidity. Bureaucracy is rigid in nature. The rules, the laws are not very dynamic, not flexible. Then applicability, it is suitable only for large organization and not for small organizations. Then impersonality, there is no place for human emotions, so that is one problem, and that leads to social welfare यहाँ पे नहीं है bureaucracy में. They believe in performance. Then concentration of power, this is one problem. All the decisions are taken by the top level management, and lower levels are not included while taking important decisions. The next one is strict rules. There is perfect discipline and strictness in the performance of jobs. So that's why this bureaucracy form of government follows a very rigid system and very strict rules. Then cost. This form of organization usually takes more time to take decisions due to rigidity of rules, because it is very hard to change the rules in bureaucracy, and that leads to time consumption, and ultimately that cost to a firm. Now here, like you can write your viewpoint that bureaucracy is important due to the following reasons. Why bureaucracy is almost indispensable for running an organization, despite having the various types of demerits, but bureaucracy should be there. It should exist in the organization, because without bureaucracy I don't think the organization can achieve its goals. So like this आप define कर सकते हैं. Then rapid development of modern technology, due to which bureaucracy is in demand. Then rise of capitalism, as you know that abhi all over the world people and organizations are more interested in capitalism rather than socialism and mixed economies. So like this you can frame your answer. Question number 2, part A, explain the process of perception and what are the factors that influence perception. ये simple question है. Perception is the process, this is the definition you should write. The process of receiving information through senses is known as perception. In other words, information that we collect by using sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, skin, tongue, like that. तो ये सारी चीज़ों को यूज़ करके जो हम लोग इंफॉर्मेशन, जो नॉलेज, जो डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं, that is called perception. And let's see the factors. These are the factors. बहुत सारे factors हैं, लेकिन मैंने यहाँ पे I think 3-4 factor के बारे में लिखा हुआ है. The first one is needs and desires. Okay. The needs and desires of people play a vital role in perception. People at different levels of needs and desires perceive the same thing indifferently. Okay. And the people, those who have more desires, more needs, they use, they have more perception. They have to use their senses more effectively. Then comes personality. Personality, as we know, there are two types of people, introverts and extroverts. So introverts are generally, they are little bit, they have shyness, इतना ज़्यादा expose नहीं करते, तो उनकी needs and desires भी थोड़ी सी limited होती है, तो they generally use less perception rather than extroverts. So like this. The next one is experience. Experience and knowledge. So this matters. जिसके पास में ज़्यादा experience है, knowledge है, those people we can say that they can use perception more effectively, right? And those who are less literate or less experienced, like young people, so they cannot use their senses more effectively in comparison to the experienced persons. And that is why we should always consult experienced persons before taking major decisions. Okay, then comes the size. Bigger the size of the perceived stimulus, higher will be the probability that will be noticed. So that is one thing. And then comes status. If a person is status oriented, obviously he will be having more perception towards that than who are not socially well aware of their status. So like this. Question number 2, part B. डिस्कस द इंडिविजुअल मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रैटेजीज ऑफ स्ट्रेस. ये स्ट्रेस के ऊपर हमेशा क्वेश्चन आता है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है. एंड इसका सेकंड पार्ट भी है, दे कैन हाउ वी कैन रिड्यूस स्ट्रेस इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. इसको मैंने बहुत सारे पहले वीडियोस में भी एक्सप्लेन किया है स्ट्रेस के बारे में. एंड एवरी इंडिविजुअल एक्सपीरियंसेस स्ट्रेस एट सम टाइम. And this is the definition of stress. Stress is a state of discomfort experienced by a person or individual. In simple words, we can say that loss of emotional stability is called stress. And this particular stress is caused by desire. More the desire, more will be the stress. जैसे कि साधु संत हमेशा बोलते आए हैं कि कम से कम डिज़ायर करो, कम से कम वांट करो, सो दैट वी विल बी इन लेस स्ट्रेस, बिकॉज स्ट्रेस इज़ ए स्लो पॉइजन. ये धीरे धीरे हमारी बॉडी, हमारे माइंड को खा जाता है. तो इसके कुछ कॉजेज़ देख लेते हैं. ये कुछ टेक्निक्स हैं टू रिड्यूस स्ट्रेस. सबसे पहले तो टाइम मैनेजमेंट, सेकेंडली फिजिकल टेक्निक्स हैं, थर्डली साइकोलॉजिकल मैनेजमेंट, फोर्थली कॉग्निटिव थेरेपी, fifthly social management, and sixthly self-awareness management. So these 6 techniques we generally use to reduce stress. Stress होता ही है because we are all working people, काम करते हैं, stress होना ही है. And stress को reduce करने के लिए सबसे पहला जो टेक्निक है that is time management. Make the best use of your time. Plan your time. This is what is written all these in points. And in physical activities you can do exercises, yogas, swimming, running, playing, like that. In psychological, you can do meditation, yoga. You should have self-control. Now this is important to control your angers and anxiety, and always develop a positive attitude and perception. Okay, good listening habits also reduces stress. Then comes cognitive. Cognitive means knowing oneself. अपने बारे में जानकारी रखना, to understand oneself. Like what type of person you are, what is your personality, and by studying that we can more or less reduce stress. Then comes social management. Now in this technique we should work with social groups, we should have friends, and we should also attend these social functions, parties, birthday parties, marriage parties, like that. Then self-awareness management. Now basically this is a very systematic process. And this self-awareness, it is also known as self-audit, and individuals understand, identify and analyze its own skills, capabilities and weaknesses. And ये जनरली कोई प्रोफेशनल जो ट्रेनर्स होते हैं तो वो ये मैनेजमेंट करवा सकते हैं to reduce stress. Generally the organizations employ these processes. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 की तरफ चलते हैं. यहाँ पे आपको करने हैं कमेंट. The first comment you have to make is persuasion is a fact of modern life. How persuasion is a fact of modern life? Why persuasion plays an important role in modern life, in our life, in the organization? So first of all you should write a short note on persuasion. Okay, what is this persuasion? It can be described as a process of convincing someone else to carry out an action or agree with an idea. That means like you are convincing someone. So persuasion is convincing or motivating someone to carry out a function. जैसे कि managers अपने subordinates को persuade करते हैं to do a certain job. So like that. And it can be done, persuasion, this sentence is important. Persuasion can be done through verbal or written communication using logical reasoning, data analysis and a lot of facts. So in our day-to-day experiences we come across a lot of persuasion techniques like ये जो large scale companies advertisements करती हैं, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है मैंने that written, visual, media advertisements are persuasive methods. This is one example you can give. And टेलीविजन में जो ऐड देखते हैं हम लोग, सो दैट इज ऑल्सो ए परसुएशन. And basically persuasion is the ability to influence other people's thoughts and opinions using convincing arguments and facts. So the persuader must have the necessary skills to persuade the others. Okay. And to have these skills, the person or the persuader must have these qualities. ये आप थोड़ी सी ब्रीफ कर सकते हैं. जैसे डू योर रिसर्च. इन ऑर्डर टू परसुएड समवन इफेक्टिवली यू नीड टू एस्टेब्लिश क्रेडिबिलिटी, एंड बाय डूइंग योर होमवर्क एंड प्रेजेंटिंग द फैक्ट्स टू द अदर्स यू कैन ईजिली कन्विंस देम. तो अपने आप को तैयार करना है. डू योर रिसर्च. बी ए गुड लिसनर. लिसन टू अदर्स सो दैट यू कैन कन्विंस देम. So this is the second quality. The third quality is find the common ground, right? Good persuaders seek common ground to establish rapport at the very beginning. This could be discussing the areas of expertise, past experience, hobbies, so like that. तो एक common ground develop करना है between the persuader and others. Then comes address concern. That means every persuader runs into objections. Overcoming them is probably the most important aspect of persuasion, because persuasion में objections होते ही हैं, criticism होता ही है. And if someone disagrees with you, don't just forge hate with your pitch. Learn why they feel the way they do. Try to understand their feelings so that you can convince them better the next time. And then show empathy. Now empathy is this is the key to persuasion, right? So like this. The second comment is again on stress. Stress is moderated by anxiety and burnout. Basically यहाँ पे आपको लिखने हैं causes, कि stress के main causes क्या हैं. तो दो तो यहाँ पे दिए हुए हैं, anxiety and burnouts. तो ये सारे factors आप लिख सकते हैं. Like there are some individual factors, family factors, economical factors, organizational factors and environmental factors. So individual factors depends on personality, age, health, education, occupation, like that. So they causes stress generally. Then comes family factors. If there are problems in the family, so that causes stress. If economic factors, if your income is not sufficient to meet the basic expenses, that will create stress. Then organizational factors are there. In this you can mention poor working conditions, poor organization structure and design, poor management, and authoritative leadership. The leadership is not friendly. So like this. Then overload of work, that also you can do. Then some environmental factors also you can consider, like political situation in the economy, so that also causes stress, right? And inflation also causes. Technological environment, that is also a cause of stress for employees. And maybe like social and cultural environment of a country also plays an important role. Okay, the next comment is on job designing. You have to comment that job designing is a continuous process. Obviously it is a continuous process if you know the meaning of job design. Job design is a complete written instructions describing in detail the task to be accomplished. जो काम आपको करना है उस काम को written instructions आपके superiors आपको देते हैं, so that is called job designing. So it specifies what to be done, how to be done, and the time taken to complete the work, right? So it is very, very important. It is obviously a continuous process. Know about that. Importance, it clarifies the task that you are doing. No overlapping of the work. That means the same work cannot be done by others or repeatedly by you. Then it helps in the placement of the employees at the right position. It motivates the employees to work hard, and it also helps in achieving better control, and it also increases productivity of the organization. So like this you can define. You can also write down about the factors that determines the job designing. Okay, The next comment is on culture. Culture is a social glue that helps hold the organization together. Culture एक ऐसा glue है जो पूरी organization को बांध के रखता है, ठीक है. That means you have to specify about the importance of culture, its elements, its functions, इनके बारे में लिखना है. तो culture is a nothing but it is a system of shared norms, values, attitudes and beliefs of the employees working in an organization. It is the way in which individuals interact with one another in the organization. So it is so simple. And इसके जो main elements हैं, those elements, structure of the organization. Then comes communication. How is the communication between the superior and subordinate? Then performance of the employees. Who takes the decision? And if employees are included before taking decisions. Atmosphere. How is the atmosphere of the organization? Friendly, good atmosphere, so that will help to establish good culture in the organization. And all these things leads to team approach. Without a proper team, no organization can be successful. That is obvious. And these are the main functions of culture, to provide a sense of identity for members, right? Because they are working in the same organization, having a particular culture. So all the employees are automatically they are diverted to that culture. So that helps to identify the employees and members. जैसे कि स्कूल में सबके एक बच्चों के एक जैसे यूनिफॉर्म होते हैं, तो दैट इज द आइडेंटिटी टू एंश्योर कमिटमेंट टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन गोल, because all the people are working for the same organizational goal. Then it also clarifies the standards of the behavior, and it also gives importance to selection, training and development of the employees. So like this you can expand your answer. Question number 4, difference. Difference है यहाँ पे. Difference, the first difference is classical and neoclassical theory of management. I told you many times in my previous videos about this. Let's briefly find the difference. In classical theory, basically it is the difference in the technology that determines the position of trade. Classical theory does not consider how much labor each country has, but in neoclassical theory, it is the difference in the factor or labor and technology that determines its productivity. The second one is, in classical theory, it assumes that the production in all the countries is subject to constant returns to scale. Now ये थोड़ा सा economics का chapter है, but in neoclassical the assumption goes not to constant return to scale and allows for decreasing return to scale. तो ये main difference है. यहाँ पे constant return to scale है, यहाँ पे decreasing return to scale है. The third difference you can write about is, in classical theory, it believes that two countries differ in technology to produce goods and services, but it is not believed by neoclassical theory. Then classical theory believes that labor is the only source of value of goods produced in the country, but neoclassical assumes that there are at least two factors of production, labor and capital, to produce goods in the country. Okay, the next difference, classical conditioning and operant conditioning. इसको तो मैंने बहुत बार previous video में समझाया आप लोगों को. Classical conditioning is a type of learning that generalizes the association between two stimuli, right? But operant conditioning, it states that living organisms learn to behave in a particular manner due to the consequences, और जो consequences के डर से लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स यानी हम लोग कुछ एक पर्टिकुलर बिहेव करते हैं. इन क्लासिकल कंडीशनिंग, द कंडीशनिंग प्रोसेस इन विच द एक्सपेरिमेंटल लर्न्स टू एसोसिएट विथ टू स्टिमुली ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ इनवॉलेंट्री रेस्पॉन्सेस, राइट? तो ये कुछ नेचुरल रेस्पॉन्सेस जो हम लोग क्रिएट करते हैं बॉडी में, सो दैट इज विथ क्लासिकल कंडीशनिंग. But in operant conditioning, the behavior of the organism will be modified as per the consequences, right? In third point of difference, in classical conditioning, it relies on involuntary or reflexive behavior in essence of physiological and emotional responses of the organism, such as thoughts, emotions, feeling. तो ये basically ये point को आपको highlight करना है, thoughts, emotions and feelings. But on the other hand, operant conditioning is based on voluntary behavior, that is active response of the organization to a particular stimuli. So like this you can write the difference. The next difference is on positive reinforcements and negative reinforcements. Positive reinforcement implies the process of adding a stimulus when a certain behavior is shown to increase the likelihood of reoccurrence of that behavior. On the other hand, negative reinforcement refers to a process in which the experimenter, in spite of adding something undesirable, it removes the unwanted stimuli to motivate the organization to perform. Okay. In positive reinforcement, a favorable stimulus is added, whereas in negative stimulus, unfavorable stimulus is removed. Now, the stimuli involved in the positive reinforcement have pleasant outcomes. That means they have good outcomes, good consequences. But in negative reinforcement, they have unpleasant or painful outcomes. Like that, in positive reinforcement, the stimuli act as a reward for doing something, whereas in negative, the stimuli act as a penalty for not doing something. So like this. The next difference you have to mention about revolutionary and evolutionary strategies. Revolutionary, evolutionary. Now ये पहला जो sentence है, that will make your meaning clear. Like in revolutionary change, it is generally caused by change in mandate, and in evolutionary the change is by convincing people. लोगों को जबरदस्ती उनको कोई भी चीज़ थोप देना, that is revolutionary, कि भाई तुमको ऐसा ऐसा ही करना है, without involving the employees. So that is revolutionary. Evolutionary में हम लोग consult करते हैं, we consult the employees and we try to pursue, we try to convince them, persuade them how to do the work, how to achieve more efficiency. So like that. And these revolutionary, these are less risky, but these are more risky because यहाँ पे employee हो सकता है आपकी बात माने नहीं माने, right? And revolutionary changes takes place very quickly, बहुत जल्दी हो जाता है ये, because यहाँ पे एक तरीके का order होता है, mandate होता है जिसको employees को मानना होता है, and evolutionary it takes time to implement. ठीक है, तो like this. The last question, question number 5, write short notes. Resistance to change, जब whenever there is a change introduced in the organization, तो normally employees resist करते हैं, उसको रोकते हैं, वो change को they don't want that change. So you have to write that in its definition. It is an attitude or behavior that shows unwillingness to approve a particular change. And this change can be of two types: organizational and individual resistance. Organizational resistance, resistance to the rules, resistance to departments, to team members, to old employees, and every organization has some fixed rules and systems, so they don't want to change. And sometimes the change in the organization may be resisted by individuals who have developed an expertise over the years working in the same environment. So they are habituated, they don't want to change the systems. Then every organization has departments which are interdependent on each other. So if there is a change in one department, all other departments have to change their systems. So like this. And in individual resistance, people develop habit of working in one particular environment, so they don't want to change that. Then security, if the organization brings changes, then their job, they may not cope up with the job, so they have a fear that they will lose the job. Then there are some economic factors due to which resistance takes place. Then there are some social factors are there, like employees develop friendship with colleagues and teammates, So they don't want to change, they don't want a change. Okay. The next short note is on work related attitudes. Now what is that? As the name implies, the employee's attitude towards their work. So these three things are important for determining the attitude of the employees. How much satisfied they are with the job, that is job satisfaction. How much they are involved in the job, how much interest they are taking in doing one particular function or job or task in the organization. So that is job involvement. And thirdly, organizational commitment. How much they are committed to their job and organization. So these three important factors determine attitude of the employees in the organization, right? So we can write about this. Then comes the next short note is on group cohesiveness. It is defined as the degree and strength of attachment or togetherness between the members of a group. Group के जो members हैं, how much they are attached to one another, right? तो you know उनकी जो team spirit है, how strong that team spirit, ठीक है? तो इसके ऊपर आपको लिखना है and बहुत interesting topic है ये in fact. And cohesive group के कुछ important characteristic है from where we can assume that the group has perfect cohesiveness. There are small number of members, क्योंकि members अगर ज़्यादा होंगे तो cohesiveness थोड़ा सा कम हो जाता है. Then there should be frequent interaction between the members. Then they should share their groups, their goals, their functions, and they should have mutual interest, a high level of group loyalty. There should be perfect unity among the members, and like that they should stick to one another. तो ये कुछ important characteristics हैं जिससे हम लोग पता लगा सकते हैं कि how the group is cohesive. इसके importance भी आप highlight कर सकते हैं. Okay, आगे चलते हैं. Barriers of communication. As we know, communication is the exchange of ideas and thoughts between two persons. And while this exchange takes place, there are some barriers. कुछ रुकावटें हो जाती हैं जिसकी वजह से communication complete नहीं हो सकता. So the first one is semantic barriers. These are concerned with the language problems. In psychological barriers, it is concerned with human feelings, emotions, right? Anger, tension में अगर है तो obviously communication अच्छा नहीं होगा. Then comes organizational barriers. These are related to organization structure, policies, rules, and lastly personal barriers. That means it is related to one's personality कि whether he is introvert, extrovert कैसा है. So friends, ये थे आपके assignment के solution, and I hope these solutions are sufficient to score maximum marks in these assignments. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope those who have not yet subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe and also share this channel to your friends, your relatives, and in your social groups. Once again, thank you very much. Best of luck.